Welcome back to First Things First. NBA champ Steven Jackson now joins the show. Hey, Steven.
How y'all doing, man? Glad to be back.
I now follow you on Instagram. I had no idea how well-rounded you are.
Oh.
Yeah, you're funny. You're funny.
Oh,
a lot of personality.
Oh,
and nothing to do with your size. Make sure you do that.
Jenna's working on not having awkward intros with our previous guest, Chris Fancy.
We've never had awkward intros.
Right, well, until right now.
Yeah,
she transitioned it right to you, Steven Jackson.
I'm sorry, Steven. It was a compliment to your... Follow this guy's Instagram account.
Thank you.
He's very... What is it? It's like underscore...
Underscore stack 5 underscore.
There you go. Easy one to remember.
Rolls off the tongue. All right, let's talk about last night's game. A lot of questions coming into Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Rockets, Warriors. How do you stop KD? How do you slow down KD? How do you play KD? How do you pronounce KD? Rockets answered none of them last night as Kevin Durant went off for 37 points to help the Warriors steal Game 1. On the road, 119-106 was your final. Despite 41 out of Harden, Rockets didn't have an answer for Durant. So, Steven, I ask you, how are the Warriors able to dominate the Rockets, at least in the second half?
Well, I said it yesterday. I said Steph and Clay was going to X out James and Chris Paul, and they did. Steph and Chris Paul didn't have a good game. Steph played better than Chris Paul, but they both didn't play well. Clay and James X'd each other out. It's not going to be an answer for KD all series. The only way is to try to take the ball out of his hands and give up some open shots. That's either way. Golden State started off the game poor. They didn't play well. James was fouling P.J. Tucker at the three-point line. You don't foul P.J. Tucker at the three-point line. You let him shoot it. Draymond.
Yes.
You don't foul him. You let him make those shots. You don't foul him at all. The first play of the game, James got a wide-open three. They wasn't paying attention to detail at the beginning of the game. They came out a little lackadaisical, not focused. But they picked it up. You don't have an answer for KD, and it's going to be like that all series.
Listen, KD was spectacular. And KD, you mentioned it. You got to pick your poison with this Warriors team. It's why, I mean, they were the greatest regular season team ever, and then they added a guy who I think is going to finish as one of the 15 greatest players ever in Kevin Durant. So there's no great answer, but the answer has to be if Draymond or Iguodala are on the court, you double off those guys. And listen, if they're hitting shots, you lose. To quote Jeff Van Gundy, if Draymond Green's hitting shots, you lose. But what you can't have is Kevin Durant taking practice shots. And that's what it is. Unless Clint Capella's guarding him, and Clint Capella's going to have a hard time guarding him, but at least Capella has the same size as him, or he's a little shorter than KD, but he has a long enough reach he can distract his shot. The best defender on KD yesterday, oddly enough, I thought was Chris Paul.
It was.
Because at least Chris Paul got up in him. Chris Paul wouldn't let him put the ball on the ground. Obviously, KD can rise up over Chris Paul. But you're not drawing dead defensively against them, but you have to pick your spots. What you can't do is say, we're going to single cover you with a 6'5" guy. Because you single cover KD with a 6'5" guy, all you're doing is hoping he's off that night.
Right.
All you're doing is hoping tonight's a night when KD's cold, and that can't be your recipe for victory.
Of the top 5 players in the world, over the last year and a half, we criticized KD more than any of those top 5 players. Would you guys agree?
Not for his basketball.
Not for basketball.
Yeah, what difference does it make?
Right, we have.
Sure.
We have.
So, true.
Yeah.
Right? Today should be his day where we should praise him, because what KD is, man, he's a basketball playing dude, man. And that's what we saw last night. We saw all the time that he spends in the gym on display. 1, 2 dribble, shoot it. Post up, turn around, shoot it. A triple threat behind the three-point line. Get inside the three-point line. Shoot it. Straight turnaround. I mean, the basic fundamentals. It's one of the best fundamental games, shooting the basketball, that you will ever see. He's a special player. We knew Golden State, their system was really good. They got good team, but they're not that type of special without KD.
That is literally the worst.
There's an answer for Steph offensively, what you do to him. There's an answer even to LeBron as far as what you can do to him. But KD, there is no answer on this Golden State team of what you can do to take KD away. He can get any shot that he wants at any time, anywhere on the court.
But this isn't the first time we're learning this about Kevin Durant. We know how good Kevin Durant is, and we also know how good Kevin Durant could be. So what was Houston's game plan coming in, and how to at least slow him down?
Well, it wasn't no game plan for KD. I guess they thought they could just man up with everybody and try to be solid. But to reiterate what you said, we always talk about LeBron being the greatest and all this, but we've never seen a KD either. We've never seen a 7-footer that can dribble, that can shoot, that's athletic. You got to remember, he's second. He's tied for second in the most scoring titles with AI. Like, this guy has been scoring since he got in the league. We talk about LeBron enough, but we don't give KD enough credit about his basketball.
Well, and to be fair though, KD was on the track to be talked about like LeBron, and then you guys can say it's unfair. I don't think it is. We don't know how to do the math when he's on Golden State. Like, look at the quote on the screen. Steve Kerr calls Kevin Durant the ultimate luxury. When you are the second best player in the world and your coach says, yeah, it's a luxury. A luxury by definition is something you don't
Everybody's
need.
got the same amount of money. Everyone's got draft picks.
Sure.
We had free agency.
Sure.
LeBron's moved a couple times in free agency.
Chris, I'm not denying Kevin Durant his agency.
And nothing wrong with making a great decision.
Nothing wrong with winning either.
Agreed. But when Steven says we talk about LeBron doing this and we need to give KD his due, I agree we need to give KD his due. But it's hard as a basketball analyst to compare what KD is asked to do to any of the other great players. What the Rockets need from James Harden is so different than what the Warriors need from Durant. I mentioned it earlier. Through 3 quarters, Kevin Durant had 30 points, 1 rebound, 0 assist. He was doing exactly what
he did take the challenge of guarding Harden too.
From the jump.
And I think
the game.
he has shown this year to be, this year in particular, an excellent defender. But it's
Last year was excellent defender. It was different. He was at the rim more.
right. And this year, he was doing that as well. The first 2 months of the year, he was leading the NBA in blocks.
Right.
Like, it's hard to do the math on him because of the team he's on. That's the downside to his decision. The upside is they won the ring last year. He was Finals MVP. They're the favorites to win it this year. Like, I think that's part of the reason when you say we don't give him his due is what do you do when he joins that team?
Well, you got to respect the man that wants to win. Any basketball player that comes into the NBA and that's in it not to win, what are you in the game for? I don't care if you LeBron, KD, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, anybody. You want to be in a position where you want to be the best. Now, you have guys that come in the game that really don't love the game, that's in the game for its benefits and what the game can do for them. KD loves the game of basketball.
And there's also a lot of star players would never embrace going to Golden State and playing with those other potential 3 Hall of Famers.
He could have stayed at OKC and padded his stats and won scoring title every year. It's about winning, and that's what I respect about KD. You can't be mad at him going to join a team and win because he's going to finish career with multiple championships. You don't want to be like Charles Barkley sitting there talking about basketball all day and can't join that championship conversation.
And
it sucks.
He's in an era where it was about the super teams. It was about guys teaming up, getting as many superstars as possible. That's the era that he's in. That's exactly what he should do.
But LeBron did it before him.
Hold on. People keep saying this. And you're
did
right. LeBron went to a non-playoff team. He went to a team that
He
had won a
joined 2
title.
Hall of Famers.
No, hold on a second. Hold on. He brought Chris Bosh with him. I get it. But the team with the Hall of Famer, Dwayne Wade, had just missed the playoffs. They hadn't won 73 games, and D. Wade hadn't won 2 MVPs. He'd won 0 MVPs. LeBron, I understand that LeBron, along with the Big 3 in Boston, ushered in the era of the super team. What we had never seen in NBA history was a player of his caliber joining a team that was already a championship team. And I ask you as a competitor, I understand the urge to win. But as a guy, you said yesterday, you thought you were one of the best teammates, if not the best teammate in NBA history. And that was because of the competitor that you were.
Right.
As a competitor, that's the part of this that has made people question KD. That's the part of this that made people criticize KD more for his off-the-court stuff, is we know how good this team was
Let me
without
tell you something. If KD decides to go from OKC to Golden State, you better have a hell of a sports resume to criticize him. People out here talking about, oh, it's about competition. Well, what do you really know about competition? Now, the people that have played the game, I can understand. They say, well, I might not have. Michael Jordan said, I might not have done these things. Barkley, I might not have. Yeah, but KD, he made himself better. He saw his weaknesses in his game. He knows his own personality. He actually pushed himself. It's a push to go to a great team and play with great players. It's harder to play with great players than it is with sorry players.
But it's harder to go to a team with great players
it's harder.
And show up and be the best player.
It's harder because there's more compromise, Nick.
Yeah.
So right now, hold on, let's use.
There's a lot of guys that enter their individual stats and everything, which you stated about OKC. He could have stayed there and just padded those things.
So, but let's use the team that I know you think has a bunch of sorry players. Who has, and the guy that you brought up, who has the harder job right now? Kevin Durant and LeBron James.
Whose check they picking up, Nick?
No, hold on, but I'm asking.
LeBron James picks up his own check.
Chris,
He's responsible for what's going on.
Their job is the same.
That just brought up the example. You said it's harder to play with great players than with sorry players. So I'm just asking, do you think Kevin Durant's job is harder than LeBron's?
No,
Yes.
but no one's comparing them today.
I don't think it's harder. I think it's both the same. They're both trying to. Their job is to win and win games. That's their job. It's nothing else. It's not.
KD does have this.
can't
If
talk
he
about
doesn't play
teams.
well, they can still win. They're a great team.
Right.
The Cavs are just in the NBA.
Right.
That's the reality.
Exactly. And Steph can have the game he had, and they can win by 13 points. Like, it is, as Steve Kerr put it, it is the ultimate luxury. It just makes your point, CC, that if you didn't compete, if you weren't a great athlete, you don't know the decision that he's going through. I concede that point. I agree. I don't know the math on that. But the flip side is, if you were the competitor, you don't have the perspective that I think I have and a lot of the viewers have, which is, as a fan, if they just run through this, I understand it's basketball at its highest level. I get it. But it takes away some of the excitement, which is the intrigue of who's going to win.
Perfect example. I was in Milwaukee. It sucked in Milwaukee. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be in San Antonio because I wanted to win, but I competed in Milwaukee like I was in San Antonio. So the way you compete is the same. But if you're on a better team, that's a luxury, and that's what you want to be. You want to win championships.
And you should do whatever you want in your career compared to listening to other fans.
I've never disputed that.
And that is how you stop Kevin Durant. Awesome. So we got to the bottom of that. Stephen, we'll see you a little bit later on in the show. Coming up 30 days away from the World Cup. Lexi Lawless joins us to break it all down next on First
It's
Things
no
First.
different, Nick. You could have joined the loser.